Hello everybody, welcome back to Screen Stars and welcome to another of my double reviews. Today's double review is somewhat a little bit different. It is for the 1987 film Deadliest Prey and its 2013 sequel, The Deadliest Prey. Now, I was reminded fairly recently of Deadly Prey, and it's a film many of you may not have ever heard of. And that doesn't surprise me. It came out in 1987, and it was a B movie at the time then, so you can imagine what it's like now. And it was basically a copy of Rambo, which was wildly popular at the time. And I've got a vague recollection of watching it on VHS. We probably rented it at the time, and watching it with the family and stuff like that. And it's a really, really low budget film. However, what I didn't realise was that there was actually a sequel to Deadly Prey that came out in 2013 called Deadliest Prey. So when I figured that out just a few days ago, I thought, well, I'm going to have to revisit this. So I decided to rewatch Deadly Prey and watch its sequel to Deadliest Prey. And these are my brief reviews of each. So it's something like a B movie, double feature review, I suppose. But I must admit, as bad as these movies are, and let's get that out of the way, they are, I did have quite a lot of fun watching them. Certainly reminiscing watching the first one. So like I said, the first one, Deadly Prey, came out in 1987. It was directed by David A. Pryor, who I suspect, and written by, who I suspect is related to the lead actor Ted Pryor. It also stars Cameron Mitchell, Troy Donahue, Fritz Matthews and David Campbell. Now the only recognisable face in this movie I recognised was Cameron Mitchell, who was in the High Chaparral TV show I used to watch as a kid. And this film is like a cross between Hard Target and Rambo. This military outfit of mercenaries pick people off the streets and send them out into the woods so that they can practice their war games on them for real. However, they pick the wrong man. They pick up Ted Pryor, who plays Mike Danton, who is a former Vietnam veteran and is not going to go down easily at all, and he puts up a hell of a fight against this ragtag group of mercenaries that is led by Colonel John Hogan, played by David Campbell, who is Mike Danton's former superior officer and the guy that trained him. Small world, eh? So that's the basic premise of this film. Now, what are my thoughts on Deadly Prey? Well, it's bloody rubbish. Let's just get it out of the way now. I watched it again, and oh boy, it's not aged well, but it's one of those films that's a lot of fun to watch and you can have a giggle at watching. It's very, very low budget, certainly for the time. It's got terrible explosions. Clearly they obviously weren't trained to be soldiers and things. They're just running around the woods firing at anything. Clearly the lead actor, even though he's in great shape, he's never had any real military training. The fight scenes aren't nicely choreographed, all that kind of stuff. But you can't help enjoying it. I mean, immediately the killing starts and it doesn't stop. I mean, he goes through these soldiers like I go through a bowl of cereal. You know what I mean? He literally just does not mess about here. I could imagine at the time they sort of said to him, you know, this guy Ted Pryor is in great shape and stuff, quite muscular. We're going to make you the next Stallone. We're going to make you a star. We're going to make you the next Rambo. Come in and make this film for us. There is some truly awful acting here by a lot of the characters. There's so much wrong with it. He's running around the woods practically naked. He's just got some like cut off jeans on. He's barefoot, and he must kill 40 soldiers, and he never even thinks once to take their boots or even to take some of their uniform to keep warm, and barely even takes many of the weapons. So it's not a great film. However, it's a B movie classic from the 80s, and it's one that I did have a lot of fun revisiting. I do remember enjoying it in the 80s when I watched it. So I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10. That's a fair score in regards to its relation to the film and its B-movie status, but I can't give it in good judgment any more than that. So that now leads us on to The Deadliest Prey, that came out in 2013. I think it was again directed by the same director, and it also, Ted Pryor returned as Mike Danton. We've got David Campbell returning as Colonel John Hogan. We have Fritz Matthews returning as Thornton, even though he had his arm chopped off in the last one, but he plays his brother, so it's alright. And basically this film is a carbon copy remake of the first one in literally every single way, apart from now it's being shown on the internet when they chase him. When these soldiers are chasing him down, it's all being shown on the internet. The reason is, I don't know. They don't really give any good reason as to why it's being shown on the internet, but it's being shown on the internet even though everyone's exposed and everybody can see who's doing the killing. And Colonel John Hogan is happily and gleefully being an over-the-top pantomime bad guy on the internet camera, telling everybody how wonderful he is and how much he's going to enjoy killing Mike Danton. And there's these 3 hackers that locate where they are in the blink of an eye, so the authorities couldn't do that. So there's so much wrong with this film, I think, more than the last one. It's got exactly the same music as the first one. I mean, literally, it looks like they've pulled the soundtrack immediately from the first one. The only difference here is, obviously, they must have realised that they made a boob in the first one with him walking around barefoot. In this one, almost like the first person he kills, he takes his boots. So I thought, well, at least, you know, you've got the good sense to do that in this one. Again, there's some really bad acting here by many of the characters. I think Ted Pryor does a decent job. He is obviously, you know, a bit more of a seasoned veteran now in regards to the acting department, and actually still in really great shape to say it's so many years after the first one. So he does carry off the role okay. It's just surprising to me that they couldn't do anything a little bit different with this film. The only thing they tried to do different was the internet thing and these 3 hackers that try and get involved, which is a bizarre storyline to have in this film. And there's one of these hackers that all she keeps saying is true dat, true dat. Literally in one scene I think she says it 3 times. I felt like putting my foot through the screen. So it's a corny remake, essentially a shot-for-shot remake at times. They even do a scene that they did exactly in the first one where he goes home and they've taken his wife and family, and there's a woman there waiting for him to give him a phone call, and that's exactly what happened in the first one. It's basically the same scene, almost shot for shot, as many of the scenes are in this film. But the thing is, if you've got nostalgia for the first one and you've seen the first one and you know what to expect, then you'll go into this one knowing what to expect. It's basically the same film 30 years later, mostly. So, but I'm going to give it a 4 out of 10 because it just lacks imagination, this sequel. They don't do anything really different with it. So, that is my reviews, mini reviews if you like, for Deadly Prey and The Deadliest Prey. 2 fun, if flawed, B-movies that you might want to check out if you like watching a good old B-movie. So thanks very much for watching, everybody. If you did enjoy these reviews, like and subscribe, and I'll be back with more content very, very soon.